Welcome back to another episode of Reality Redemption. MJ, we got Snow with us again as always.
Hello.
Yeah, short for Snowflake. This week we're joined by Christopher Eden.
Hello, hello.
Hey, how you doing?
All right.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Fade out. You know, you think after 26, 27 episodes we'd get better at this, but we're still just winging it.
Winging it tonight.
We kind of like being rookies.
Sunday winging.
It's funny.
Yeah. Holidays coming up. You guys all ready for the holidays?
Ready for them to be over.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
God.
Right.
I know.
Ready for this year to be over.
I kind of don't like holidays. It just, whatever reason, stuff always happens this time of year that just always puts me in a bad mood. And
Yeah.
I got kids. I try to be there for them and
Yeah.
get good for them. But other than that, I could be done with it.
Yeah, like
I mean, it's right. The thing is like all my family is mostly back in Southern California. My mom and I are out here, so it's kind of depressing in a sense. And money's tight, and it is what it is. But yeah, we'll see what next year.
Yeah, money's tight for everybody. God, this year with COVID.
This year's going to be rewritten in the history books for sure. I mean, it's just I don't know. It's gonna. I mean, people say we're gonna recover. I mean, the spike is going up again, and
yeah.
I think maybe some people are getting a little careless. Like they're like, oh, a vaccine's on the way, so they're just like. But it's like, dude, you got to make it to the vaccine part too. Like they're going to give it to the healthcare workers and the emergency responders first. I mean,
Right. And we're not going to see it till April at least.
Yeah, I think they were saying like before the end of the year, the emergency responders will get it. And then everyone else should be able to get it by April. But then at least almost everyone should have it by June. I think were like the deadlines. That's what I heard last.
I don't know, because it's been a year since I've been to a concert, and for me, that's just ridiculous.
yeah, you told me about the ones you were ready to go to, and I'm like, oh,
yeah, I know.
What happened to the drive-in one? They canceled it.
They canceled it for whatever reason.
Maybe they didn't sell enough. Who
No,
knows?
it wasn't that. I think probably someone on the crew probably got it or something like that. I can't figure out because they were still having other ones. Just the one I was supposed to go to got canceled. But,
just like yesterday at the Blackbridge Brewery, so Evil Empire was supposed to play, and Anthony, the guitar player, he's really sick and not sure if he has it or not. And then there's another band that backed up because one of their guitar player, I believe, confirmed has it. So, but it was fun just to get out for a little bit.
were there many people there?
About 50-ish.
Is everybody social distancing?
Were they mostly outside?
Yeah, it was all outside.
It was that back stage area.
Yeah.
Well, I know they leave the inside open too.
Yeah. Oh, there's tons of people in there, not masked up, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's why I won't.
Yeah, I'm like, it's catch-22. I'm like, I love to see live music, but...
Yeah, I mean, I was on the fence about taking the vaccine, but if it's kind of like, well, you need the vaccine to go to a show. You know, I don't know if you have to show a card afterwards once that comes back.
Yeah, like, I'm going to take it because by the time we get to take it anyways, there will be a bunch of people who already took it. So won't we know?
And they say that basically it's like the flu or whatnot. You can even if you get the vaccine, you can still get it apparently, unless you build up proper antibodies.
But that percentage is actually low, though, of people. Okay. Yeah, and this vaccine is not like any other vaccine. Like the flu vaccine will like give you a little bit of the flu, it's actually the last year's. Mm-hmm. But this one does not give you COVID at all. What it gives you is the antibodies.
Oh, okay.
In your system.
See, we all hear different things on the news, you know. And my mom,
I know.
She always watches these Daily Blast Live and all this, and all these people think that there's little microchips in the vaccine that are going to track you, and all these conspiracy theories.
Yeah, the conspiracy theories. This town's full of that.
As you know, I'm not taking the vaccine because I don't want people to track me as I type this on my iPhone.
My thing is like I'm pretty much like with the people that don't want to take the vaccine. I feel the same way about them that I feel about the people who don't want to wear the masks. I'm like I'm done arguing. I'm like, if you don't want to take it, fine. If you don't want to wear a mask, fine. I mean, that's why I don't really go anywhere though. Not in Kingman. Like I will go. I feel more comfortable going to Nevada. Good thing we're close because they're at least following rules there.
Well, like, I'm wondering if the governor is gonna or mayor is gonna remandate.
She can't.
She can't. Oh,
another council person that did not vote for the mandate can bring it up again. So there's a couple new council members that got sworn in this week. One of them technically could bring it up again.
But they're not going to because they're ultra conservatives too. Right. They ran the council people are supposed to be nonpartisan.
Yeah.
And they purposely, when they were running, put it out there that they're like conservative because they know that this is an ultra conservative town.
Yeah.
And they wanted to win those seats.
Even though council
members... So they basically, I mean, I don't know how that's like not against some rule. You're not supposed to even say your political party.
Yeah. And it's interesting doing deliveries for DoorDash and Postmates. So I'm seeing these different places. Apparently now the Taco Bell over on Stockton Hill, their lobby's completely closed now again. Okay. But the one over on Andy Devine, they're open. It's like,
but it's the same owners though.
That's weird.
Yeah. So
maybe that one had a COVID breakout and they're like they had to close it down.
Maybe something like that
to disinfect or whatever.
I guess the whole point where I was going with this is, missing concerts and stuff like that.
Tangent.
And music is like therapy to me.
Oh, hell yeah.
Especially live concerts and that feeling. Even though I'm an introvert, I like being in the crowd and the experience and 10,000 people all singing together,
And the biggest thing, too, that bugs me is when they try and defund music in schools.
Yeah.
I have a huge sticker, "Keep Music in Schools," on my car, and it has helped me through the darkest times. I mean, when I was in Taiwan touring, I was so lonely, and I used to put it in my headphones and go to sleep and just wish for the best the next day. But when I see kids accelerating in music, you can see the passion and the pleasure in their eyes. I've got a few friends back in California that teach music, and they don't have hardly any money. My friend Brian had to actually buy his own new music stands out of his own pocket because they wouldn't fund him for basic essentials.
Like all teachers,
right.
Yeah, teachers,
all teachers.
Underrated teachers.
They've been doing that. My mom's a retired school teacher. She's been buying her own supplies in the 80s. When I was a kid at school, she's like, I have to buy them because the school doesn't provide it.
It's horrible.
And then the kids go without. It's awful.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, that's like saying, with the police, hey, what if the police had to buy their own bullets?
Right?
Hey, maybe there'd be less police shootings in that case.
I don't understand why if we're supposed to be like the number one country, like that's what they're always telling us, why in the hell isn't education even valued? And no matter what type of education it is, yes, music is important. All the arts are important.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right. And, with, mental health is a big thing, and I think if we did prioritize music more,
all the arts, like all the outlets of arts, I think that does help with mental health. I mean, like, because I'm like into more of like theater, I like music too.
Say theater, yeah.
But like, I'm really into theater, and that was one of my favorite things that I did this year was being in that play. Like, I feel so much better that I did it.
It gives you a sense of expression too. You know,
Right.
it helps you. Maybe, you know, you have some issues built up or whatnot. I know for me at least, like when I used to play, I haven't played live in a long time, but I used to get up on that stage, and no matter if I connected with one person in the crowd out of like 5,000, that made my night. Knowing that that person would come up to me and say, you know what, you don't know me, but I appreciate the music and I love the way you play, whatnot. I would go home just smiling. Just knowing that, you know, I helped someone out, you know, in their sense of maybe being down or whatnot. And so that's why I love music so much. And I want to get back into it, but it's been so difficult being out here.
What brought you to Kingman?
My mom moved out here in 2000, about 4.5 years ago. Her friend came out here, bought a house, and said, "Oh, it's the best place to live in the world." La la la. She moved. So we moved her out here, and we looked for places: Laughlin first, Vegas, and then out here we found a three bedroom, 2-bath apartment. And then about 2 weeks later, she had a huge falling out with that friend that invited her out here.
Oh,
and they totally cut ties. My mom was on the phone to me back in California all the time, crying. I'm so miserable. I'm stuck in this contract. And where I was at the time, I was living with a roommate and it was not going that great. So I made the decision to pack up and come out here. And that was 3.5 years ago. And it's been a rocky roller coaster out here for me, I'll be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I think it has for all of us. I mean, we rag on this place a little bit, but we do have a really good circle of friends.
It is.
Small circle of friends, but they're just a bunch of really good people.
Yeah.
And I wanted to ask you too, since you're from California, do you have to experience a lot of the folks here, like, having a cow about California when you tell them that's where you're from?
Don't California my Arizona.
I know, yeah. Boy, do they get mad.
I get mixed emotions, but you know what? I've met a lot of people that have moved from California area out here.
Right.
You know?
A lot of conservatives move here from California because they get sick of the California.
They get sick of, like, how expensive it is in California. And, so, like, some of it, like, they don't... Some of their gripes, though, I would like to remind people again that California has the world's 5th richest economy. Okay, out of the entire world, United States is like number 1, one state number 5. Like, I always try to remind people of that here because, like, Arizona actually is able to get by because of a state like California.
And it's
so they should stop ragging on California.
It's crazy because I mean they say to be comfortable in at least Orange County. I don't know about LA and San Diego and whatnot, but you need to make an average of like $85,000 a year just to get by. And the apartment we're in here in Kingman, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,400 square feet, paying about $900 a month.
Yeah.
That back in Irvine, California, it's going to cost you like $3,000 to $4,000.
Yeah, a few thousand.
Well, yeah. Why do you think that is, like, in California, that things are so expensive, though?
I bet I know why. Because you think about it, you have to pay a huge premium for the best weather. That state probably has the best weather out of any of the states.
It's pretty,
And then, I mean, for the most part of California, because it is kind of a long state.
Right.
And there's so much opportunity there. I mean, there's so much work there. There's land of opportunity.
The problem being is the homeless problem out there.
Oh.
Yeah, but, but an argument with that, there's a homeless problem everywhere.
Oh, sure.
We have a homeless problem here in Kingman. I mean, people are sitting there always saying, oh, the cities are full of tents. Number one, that's everywhere. That's due to the 80s. Like inflation not keeping up, wages not keeping up with inflation. I mean, these are all things that are part of the whole. When Ronald Reagan sat there and told people, you know, government is the problem, he really drilled that into people's head to make them not trust their government, that their government would be there to also help them. So now we're ending up with this, like every man for himself. And when you do that, then also add to the fact you're like letting businesses do whatever they want with all the deregulations, that they're not held up. They don't have to follow any rules. And the people are the ones that are suffering. The average people are suffering.
Yeah, I mean, you think they could establish some kind of rent control, where it's where it's in terms of where the wages are, so affordable housing and all that stuff. But that gets into those socialist programs that everybody hates.
Yeah, I mean, I remember looking into that years ago, and the wait list was like 3 years or something like that. But getting back to the homeless problem, especially in Santa Ana, down by the courthouses. So my neighbor, when I lived in Garden Grove, she retired 35 years working as a court reporter. And her goal basically was to help the homeless. Mm-hmm. And what she did, and I helped her out with this for so long, she would make hygiene kits in big, huge plastic bags, basic and essentials, toothbrush, toothpaste.
Yeah, our friends Aaron and Courtney do that.
We have friends that do that.
Yeah. When I heard about that, I was like, wow, that's really cool. But she had some excess money, so she had like sleeping bags. We would pass out hats and socks and things like that, and food. And some were receptive. I know there's a lot of mental illness going on still, but some were receptive, some were so appreciative, and some were greedy. They wanted like everything.
Yeah.
But just helping her out with that for a few years was really nice. But I mean, I'm talking hundreds of people down by the library in Santa Ana. It was.
And that's another thing too, like with the. There's a large majority of the people who are homeless who are mentally ill.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of mental institutions that were closed in the 80s. They got rid of them. And they turned it into prisons instead. And so now they ship people off to prison who are...
Which is not...
And it's like, that's not helping anything.
No, that's not rehabilitation of people. That, just shipping people off because they... maybe have a drug charge, or they're this, that, and the other thing. They don't know they're schizophrenic, not on their medications.
Right.
It's not the goal to put them in jail. It's to help them. And, personally for me, when I moved out here, I was with Mojave Mental Health, and I went through 8 caseworkers in a year, 2 psychiatrists. I was like, this is the crack I'm falling through. So I just quit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, the problem being is, in a state like Arizona, there's not proper funding.
Yeah.
So these facilities can't afford to keep the good people. They go out to a bigger city.
That's what I was told. Is a lot of like maybe residents, whatnot, will come here, do their time, or realize they don't want to be in this maybe slightly rural town. They'll move on to bigger things. And that's the explanation that was given to me all the time.
I mean, that's healthcare across the board, not just mental health care.
And healthcare, it's mental health care is so. I don't know. I mean, it's like I'll admit I take medication and all that, and I don't know if it's working or not. I don't feel like a light switch is like, whoa, this medication. I'm a different person. I don't feel that. There is something called a gene site test, which actually they take your DNA and they match up with the medications you're taking to see if those medications are actually going to work for you or not. It's an amazing test, and it's pretty. You can get financing for it. So it's something like I'm diabetic, so and I high blood pressure, so I take about 9 medications every morning. Wow. Mostly physical, 2 for depression and anxiety. Mm-hmm. But again, if your DNA makeup is not taking that in properly, then there's no point in taking it. Anyway, that's something I want to have done. But again, my primary care doctor, she never wants to give me a referral and things like that.
Oh, that comes to insurance and everything.
Yeah.
I mean, that's part of the problem too. If we would get rid of why healthcare has to be such a business and a making money business and
big pharma,
if we actually cared. But that's another thing, like getting back, like to I believe that some of it is like your genes and your DNA, but I think a lot of it too is the way in which our lives are. You know, I'm like, if they gave people better opportunities here, like there were better wages, there were benefits, you know, they had health care, you would have happier people. Like that would solve a lot of the mental health issues right there, like the ones with depression and everything. If they had, like, I'm so sick and tired of hearing people talking about how people are just lazy and they don't want to work. Yeah, you're always going to have that small percentage. Yeah. But there are a lot of people who find real value in work and they get a lot of self-fulfillment out of that. Yeah. And they just want like a better opportunity. And if we had people who, like elected officials, which we have some, but there's a lot of them who just don't care, and they're more about like making money from like the lobbyists and everything. They're it's all a money making scheme, basically.
I know that, you know, being out of work for the last few weeks, it takes a toll on my mental health.
Well, yeah.
Right. It's not like you want to do, you don't want to be out of work. You would love to have a job. Yeah. You know?
It feels good. I mean, the productivity just enhances your mental well-being, first of all.
Yeah. Plus, you're just not sitting home just thinking, woe is me, and thinking about your problems all day.
Yeah.
Right. You're busy.
I've been doing that since January, you know. Rent a center laid me off, or other words. So it's been a hard, you know. So thank goodness I got into the delivery business with Postmates and DoorDash, and that's helped. But it's like this. It depends on the day and whatnot.
Nothing steady.
Yeah.
How is that though during these times delivering? Isn't that a little sketchy?
Well, when and I think I started in March, maybe April. It was no one wanted to leave. And I was also doing Instacart, which is shopping for customers and delivering their groceries. On average, I was making $500 to $600 a week. It was that busy. It was like full time. Cool. It's died down now, but it just depends. Not sketchy, but yeah, I've had a few situations where people have given me different addresses, and you know, I'm driving around trying to find them, and they're like, "Oh no, you need to go to this location," and they're bouncing around. Like, you know what? Huh. So for the most part, people are pretty cool. Yeah. I try and do what I can, and then another thing I try and do. You're talking about people that are fortunate to have a job. You know, I do see people working at McDonald's, Burger King that are, you know, I'm 48 or 47. That are like even older than me, and to me, I look at that, I'm like, that's awesome. They're doing what they probably can to get by. I met this girl at Panda Express, and so I started this little campaign with myself to try and I try and give someone a good compliment once a day, no matter who it is. Maybe I'm gonna make their day a little bit better.
I do that too.
You know, it's the right thing to do. Mm-hmm. So I have like a stack of thank you cards in my car. I gave one to our local fire department by my house, the KPD, the sheriff's department, just saying thank you, because all the negativity in this world in regards to first responders and law enforcement, they need to hear that. And then this girl I met at Panda Express, she went above and beyond, and I just gave her this card for her and the restaurant, and I just said thank you. And sometimes people look at me kind of like strange, like, why are you giving me? What's your alternative motive? I'm like, nothing. I just want to make your day a little bit better. So,
a little gratitude that goes a long way.
Just like a thank you, you know.
I like to tell people, like, too. I mean, if you notice, like, they're wearing something cool or something, then give them compliments, like, to make them feel better too. Because sometimes, like, you never know what somebody's personal struggles are.
Yeah.
You never know if they had like a really shitty morning and they like just needed to hear one thing nice.
Exactly.
You know?
It brings me to happy tears, when you can see maybe they're having a bad day, they're stressed out, there's burgers backed up at McDonald's or something, and then I'll just say, it's okay. This one guy at McDonald's on Stockton Hill one day, he was just all over the place. I go, come here. Take a deep breath. I just I'm not a psychiatrist or psychologist, but I said, dude, take a deep breath. The day is short. You're going to get through this. Trust me. I know it's stressful at this time, but just look at the big picture and just know that you are appreciated. He's just a great worker, but he was having a tough time, and just little things like that. Just if you can brighten someone's day by something small, that's what we all need to be doing. And then you have a lot of people just bitching and moaning about the littlest things,
right. like the Facebook page, orchids and onions.
Yeah, I have to back out.
I don't even follow that anymore.
Yeah,
I get
because it's all onions.
Yeah, because it's like, they screwed up my order at McDonald's.
And it's like, is this the first time that's ever happened to you? Like, what?
Yeah.
The fact that you took extra time out of your day to go on and type and complain about it. Like, you already didn't complain in your car on the whole way home. And then you're like, I'm going to light them up on here too. Because I just haven't had enough. Like, yell at them in your car. That's appropriate,
Yeah.
Right.
So,
and, if something like that happens to me, like my order gets screwed up, it's annoying for like the first 10 minutes.
then,
Guaranteed an hour later, I'm not even thinking about it anymore.
Yeah.
Right. Or call and make a complaint. Like, they always give you the receipt. Like, make a complaint that way. And then if they're that mad, then you probably will get a coupon for a free burger.
I don't know. Calling those numbers, though, that gets even more annoying. Press 1 for this. And you can't get a hold of a person, and you get even more frustrated. So
you tried it.
Don't even bother.
Over at Arby's there, actually, I had I donated to the kids fund or whatever. They gave me 2 coupons for free sliders.
Okay.
So I went in there to just get my mom and I 2 sliders. And the assistant manager took the order and he said, "Oh, these aren't valid." And the date was fine until 2022. And I said, "What do you mean?" They're not registering when I scan them. I said, "Well, can you fix it?" And he said,
The music.
Yeah.
So you came from Orange County.
Yeah, born in Bellflower, California. Lived in Orange County my whole life. Moved around Orange County and all that.
Right, and so that's a big ska scene there.
Yeah, the 90s.
Oh
my gosh, the 90s, Real Big Fish, Best Friends with Aaron, and a lot of those guys.
I like them too. They're in a lot of the South Park stuff. I think they were in basketball. They were the band playing in there, weren't they?
And then, Say Ferris. They were in a few movies.
I liked them.
They're still around. They that was a big another whole story with their singer, basically.
No doubt.
And then no doubt.
I love Gwen Stefani.
Gwen, and then Eric Stefani. Not a lot of people know about him. That's her sister.
He went. He went on to The Simpsons, right?
He's an animator. He's an amazing animator. And so, just I can't explain how. So my first band was in I was like 20, maybe 20, whatever, how old that was, but it was just a 3-piece band, and my first band, and we used to just play around, little places. And the thing about Orange County, we had a lot of little, like, what they call DIY, do-it-yourself venues, which were sometimes it was a donation, and they would let people in. And Coos Cafe was a coffee house about the size of this room and that one. No stage, but that's where No Doubt got their start. a bunch of bands got their start there, just because it was a cool place to play. No alcohol, just coffee, and then it just it just went on from there. Different bands, I try out and play. Don't like it, but the two favorite bands I enjoyed was Abducted, and we were full on ska band with horns. Our drummer was more of a rock drummer, but he could still play the quick ska beats. And like I said earlier, we got this offer. We auditioned to go over to Taiwan. All of our stuff got freighted over there. 3 months. We didn't realize we were going to be in like a very, very, very rural village. We would drive down the street and see people just like peeing in the streets, and very rural. So it was very humbling. But at the same time, we got very sick because of the water. We had a tour bus. We had a translator and things like that. So it turned out to be pretty good. But, we got a little stir crazy because there was nothing much to do. 3 months there.
3 months.
3 months.
Wow.
Yep. January 1998. Yeah.
Was the money any good?
Well, I had so many bills. Like, I was sending my money back to my mom to pay my bills. I got home and I had like a few $100, but like our trumpet player who was 15, no bills. He got home and he had, a nice savings going. So, but it was at their biggest amusement park, and it's called Window on the World in China, and the whole theme was about miniatures. They had like an airport with miniature airplanes and all that, and then we got to know the staff, and they had a gymnastics group, and they became friends with us and all that. And we had like it was kind of cute. We had a little like groupie fan club. At the time I had bright blue hair, and like this one girl, Peen, she came to the show and she had bright blue hair just to match me, and it was kind of flattering.
It's kind of cool.
But so we would play 4 days a week, 6 days, 4 times a day, 6 days a week. And we would do like, a few songs, and then the country western singers would come up, and then the magicians would do their thing. So it was a whole like...
So you were just in one venue. They weren't like touring.
That wasn't a tour. That was just the same stage. Our equipment would just cover it up every night. So that was a good experience. But going to Europe was the best, because that was 99. Right when I got back, I was just filling in for a bass player for this band called Jeffrey's Fan Club, and we got. So we flew over. There's a lot of miscommunication. This is the first time the label had sent any band over there, and so we went over there, and it was we got picked up by the cab, and we got sent to our motel room and all that, and so we spent 6 days in touring all through England, mm-hmm. And that was amazing, because sometimes some venues we didn't have, depending on the venue. Sometimes they would put us up in a nice motel room or hotel. Sometimes we'd have to, all 7 of us, sleep in the van, or the tour bus, which is not big. Then we went to France, Italy, Austria, Switzerland, so about 6 or 7 countries. And it was just the experience. I didn't come on with a dime, but the experience of seeing Europe and seeing how people appreciated so much music back then, more than we saw back here, was amazing.
Did you play with any big bands that we would know?
There's a band called Hepcat. Look them up. They are more of a...
I think I've heard of them.
Yeah, they've been around for a long time. So it was... we found out that they were touring around the same time. We showed up at this venue in Italy. We're like, hey, let's just show up and just see. And we met them all. First time I met them all, and just like super great people. And they basically said, "Did you want to open us?" There's like 6,000 people there. Do you want to open up for us, like by chance? And we were more of like a ska punk band, and they were more of like a traditional like reggae Jamaican kind of band.
Okay.
So we're like, shoot, people are gonna like, I'm not sure how they're gonna react to this kind of music with distortion. But again, it's like how great it was to see people accept, because a lot of people back here, a lot of people back in the USA, they're very snooty. They're like, I only like this. Oh, if you sound like this, I don't know. But over in Europe, this was 99. So I don't know how it is now, but they were so open to us, and it just had a good time. And it was a place that was open till 5 a.m, and basically we just crashed their show, and they invited us to play. So that was really fun.
Cool.
Is it nerve-wracking getting up front of 6,000 people?
I just imagine them all naked. That kind of helps. No, a lot of times you can't see because of the lights and all that, but we knew the songs, and I was just a fill-in player. So before we left, I only had 2 weeks to learn like 20 songs, and these are like not easy songs. These are like ska bass lines and all that, and so the band one time they called out a song and they said, "Let's play Dream Girl." I'm like, we didn't, and somehow I pulled it off, and they're like, "Good job." Austria, that was in Austria. But just the experience, just seeing Europe and just playing with the other bands, local bands, were so hospitable. They took us in sometime to, sleep over at their place when we didn't really have a place to stay. So for the most part, that was fun,
Cool.
Are any of the music that you've done on iTunes or Amazon?
I am so technically challenged these days.
Me too.
A few friends of mine during the COVID thing, they've been doing, a lot of bands have been doing this like collaboration thing over like Zoom. I don't know if it's Zoom or whatever, where they get musicians together to put their own parts together, and they bring it together. I would love to do that because I used to have it set up years ago where I could actually basically plug into my amp, headphones on, and I could hear myself playing, and I press an MP3 and it'd play along to the song. Yeah. I don't know how to do that anymore. Because that's how I taught myself how to play. In 1991, when I was 17, I got my first cheesy bass guitar, put in Nirvana's Nevermind album, and just listened to. I don't play by music. I just play by ear. Right. So I just basically started following the parts of Chris Novoselic, a bass player, and that's how I first taught myself how to play, just by ear. And
that's how I learned how to play guitar.
Yeah, a lot of people do that. You'll be surprised how many musicians that are huge musicians. Flea from Chili Peppers can't read a lick of music, but look how great he is.
I like Flea.
Like
he's a good basketball player too.
Like my kid wanted to know how to play guitar, and he goes, "Well, how does he do that?" And I'm no good at the guitar, but I can listen to it and go, "Okay, this is what he's doing."
Yeah.
And I can mock it, and my kid's like, "How did you know that?" And I'm just, I don't know. I just know.
Yeah. I mean, I got this guy from Nigeria right now online. He's like, "Can you teach me how to play bass guitar?" And I've never given lessons. I know the basics and I have a book on how to do the basics and all that. You start out basically kind of like the blues chords. Just simple 1 to 3 progressions. But I would love to teach.
I was listening to an interview with Wolfgang Van Halen the other day, and he was talking about how when he wanted to learn how to play guitar, you would think he would have the best dad to be able to teach him. And he said, my dad was the worst guitar teacher because he'd be like, "Dad, how do you do that?" And Eddie Van Halen would just pick up the guitar and go, "Yeah.
Yeah.
He goes, "No, how do you do that? Break it down for me." And Eddie Van Halen couldn't break it down to simply show him how to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really inspiring to see. I don't know the name offhand, but there's a few kids out there on YouTube that they're just born with the talent.
Right. It's amazing, like when these bands, older bands, and they need a replacement player, they just go to YouTube and they find somebody that does it. It's kind of like how Journey found their singer. They found a Filipino guy that couldn't speak English, but he could imitate Steve Perry really good.
Yeah.
He does it better Steve Perry than Steve Perry now.
No,
sounds
you can't replace
exactly
Steve Perry.
like
Yeah.
But there's other bands that have done that too, that they found people on YouTube as a replacement.
Well, what's his name? Adam Lambert, the whole Queen thing.
Oh, I think no one can replace Freddie Mercury.
No. That is one person that has the vocal range. Oh.
Well, at least with Queen, they don't go out touring as Queen. They do it Adam Lambert and Queen.
Yeah,
I know.
That would be, I don't think they could do that. Yeah, as that name.
Yeah,
that was the one.
And I like Adam Lambert, but no one.
I never
ever be Freddie Mercury.
Never got to see Queen.
Have you ever listened to Under Pressure without the music part of it, and it's just the vocals of David Bowie and Freddie Mercury? Yeah. Wow. It shows you how powerful Freddie's vocal range is, because there's no music going on in there, and you're just like, holy shit.
I'll have to find that. Yeah. That is interesting when they mute the tracks and just hear the vocals. Yeah, you see.
Some of them sound bad though. like David Roth cannot sing.
Not Freddie. Freddie. I remember when I was really. I mean, I'm still really into Queen, but just really getting into them and being obsessed, and I'm just he was literally, he was born to do that job, just be a performer. And then he said it in the movie. I was like, yes, you were.
Right.
And and you know how he has pretty messed up teeth, and he wholeheartedly believed his singing was that the way his teeth were. Mm-hmm. That's why he never got them fixed, apparently.
Right.
Because that was the way he
I
thought.
had heard that.
Yeah.
And also, he probably was like, fuck you, I'm Freddie Mercury. I don't need to fix my teeth. Fuck off, you know? Have you heard me? Have you seen me perform? The way that he even, worked a stage, was just... The entire performance was amazing. And then I liked how he would just be I'm going to do a disco song, and then just did it. And then I'm going to do an opera type song, and then just did it. And these are masterpieces. You're just holy shit. They're extremely versatile.
I like bands. I like bands that do that rather than do the same thing. AC/DC, don't get me wrong, great band, but it's just, I don't see how you can make the same record time after time after time.
They stick with what works. Right.
I like the new Foo Fighters song is a really good song, but it does not sound like Foo Fighters at all. And I like that they have the balls to do something like that.
See, I never really got into Foo Fighters. I like Dave Grohl on the drums.
I would have loved to see what Nirvana would have done if Kurt Cobain,
you imagine?
Kept going.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Progressing.
Yeah.
I think he was afraid of that, though. I think because wasn't the Neil Young saying was in the suicide letter, it's better to burn out than fade away, or whatever. Is that? I can't remember the exact line, but
I think he would have gone to make amazing music. Maybe not as Nirvana, but maybe as a solo artist.
Yeah. I don't know. I think he was. I just think he was afraid of
Neil Young
not being good anymore too.
Neil Young is another one though that doesn't really give a fuck about the mold. He's like, I'm not going to do Rockin' in the Free World again. I think Neil Young came out with an album where it was just all feedback sounds. You know, it was like an EP
Experimental.
or something.
Like he's a strange guy too. In my high school, I had one of my English teachers. She talked about how she grew up with Neil Young. She went to high school with him, and she's like, he's always been very strange, very odd, but I mean, very talented too. But she's like, yeah, he's always been that way. Him and Bob Dylan are like my go-to though. If I am like really struggling with things, like they make me feel better. And Tom Petty, like all of them, like. I have to listen to their music to get through things.
I went to go see
Wilburys.
I went to go see Tom Petty once, and he was just like, he said beforehand, "Look, I'm not going to play any of the hits, okay?" You know,
What?
and lay next to me the whole concert screaming, "Break down!" I'm like, he's not going to do it. Break down. He's not going to do it. He said he's not going to do it. And it was still a good show.
One thing about Dave Grohl, I've never met him, but I heard he's like one of the most kindest, down-to-earth rock stars out there. That he really cares about his fans. He invites people up on stage to play his guitar all the time. And despite what he's been through, you know, he went through a huge heroin addict. He was into heroin back in Nirvana, big time too.
Yeah, Kurt Cobain.
You know.
Too. I've heard that he's like an excellent human being.
Yeah.
Like it's just I'm not.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, like I'm not a huge Foo Fighters fan.
Well,
I'm just not.
I'm gonna go ahead and bow out now. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
I'm just
They're
joking.
like, I know. No, people get mad at me. They also get mad at me for the Dave Matthews Band thing, and I'm just like, I understand that people are. Like, Dave Matthews Band music does stuff to people. Like, I've had friends where they're like, they wrote Dave Matthews Band a letter to talk about how much his music has meant to them. And I mean, crying while they're talking about it. And I'm like, dude, I'm not into DMB either. I'm like, I don't
Shannon's
get
not
it.
gonna like that one.
I know. I'm sorry, but I'm being honest, you know. But I'm sure that I like bands that a lot of people think suck.
Yeah, like there's some bands that I'm not into, like the Grateful Dead. I was never into.
Oh, I don't like them either.
Me either.
I'm not into that one.
You know, that 20 minute
Deadheads.
jam.
Yeah, right.
You know?
It's like
Yeah.
whole album on one song.
Yeah. Can't do that. But, you know, I like Springsteen. A lot of people don't like him, you know, because whatever reason.
I like Springsteen. Yeah.
So what else?
What were your influences?
Oh,
Stumped him.
yeah. Influences. Well, I mean, like when I first started playing, I didn't really know anything about ska, so that came later. I just loved the Nirvana's Nevermind album. I liked I was 17. I was kind of still finding myself. That album spoke to me because there's a lot of aggression and anger, and so that helped me kind of get through some things that I've been through in my life. So that kind of helped me connect to get through that. Ooh, I want to talk about...
You know, I never got to see Nirvana, but a couple years ago, the Foo Fighters did Cal Jam out in California, and they had
Cal Jam? Yeah.
They had a reunion of Nirvana, but of course Kurt was no longer there, but he brought different people, and Joan Jett was one of them.
Oh, yeah.
And,
I've heard the song sheet.
They did Smells Like Teen Spirit, and I've never seen that song live, and when that riff kicked in, was just goosebumps.
It's the most simplest riff, but man, it was so catchy.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about music is having that perfect, what's called hook. That's the little part of the song that like, it'll just catch you and you remember it. And that's the good thing that's the nice thing about writing.
It's amazing how that album just turned the music scene upside down.
Yep.
Went right from, like instantly, that song came out and all the hair bands died.
Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah,
I think it was because his music was so honest too. Like it kind of bothers me sometimes when there's people in the conspiracies about that he was like murdered. And to each their own. Everybody has the right to think what they want to think. But I'm like, did you guys listen to his music? Because I mean, he talked about it all the time.
Yeah, I mean,
like,
that's good.
When what happened to him happened, I don't think anybody was shocked. I mean, I mean, you were like, I remember hearing the news. I remember turning on because MTV's still doing rock music,
right?
And they did the music news on the top of the hour. And I remember the breaking news, and Kurt Loder comes on and says what happened.
But I don't think it was extremely shocking when it actually happened, because the time before was more shocking when it was like he attempted it and then was okay for a little bit, and then when he finally had done it, though, like, it was still, I still remember Courtney Love reading the suicide letter on MTV, and I kind of liked the part where she was like calling him out and going, oh, fuck you, you're not a martyr. I mean, I felt really bad for her too, like, getting so much shit and people thinking that she had part in it too. I'm like, give me a break. You know,
well,
she's not a perfect person. I mean, she's a person that's a fucked up person, but still, she did not kill her husband.
You know, another one, you know, like Kurt Cobain, Chester Bennington too.
Yeah.
That was another one that...
He went to my high school. Little
known fact.
My cousin got like... My cousin was talking about... We were talking about this one time, and he's like, yeah, so my cousin still lived, like, in Greenway High School, and he had went to Greenway, too. Like, I think he might have been the same year as my cousin. I never knew him, because I was older. But so his family moved into the house right next door to my cousin. And he's like, I remember, like, I would try to be cool to him and his friends. They were, like, goth kids. And so I'd be like, hey man, what's up? And they'd be like, fuck you.
The point being is with Chester, if you listen to the lyrics and you go, wow, he was a tortured guy for many years.
He was molested when he was younger, too.
And I think that's
what happened.
I think that's what drives a lot of people to music is, you know.
It's a place of solace. It's a place of you can get your feelings out. I mean, that's been a big issue for me. 10 years old, I had issues with molestation for 2 years, and it's like my family has never wanted to deal with it, and they wonder why I've been so effed up over the years. It's something that I just... I've always been told, oh, just don't worry about the past, just get over it. That's the way my family always was, and then I was in an abusive relationship with the only love of my life, but he used to get so drunk and jealous. I would come home and he would pin me down, and he caused me to actually learn, I don't have all my hearing anymore because he used to hit me so much in my ears. So that's another thing that I just despise about it, because it's like, as a musician, it's like I can't hear the things I used to be able to hear. So it's just, musicians in general, okay. My thing is, if I see a musician that has a perfect life and nothing wrong with them,
no way.
You have, in my view, it's you have to have some kind of trauma issues. I mean, you look like what Chester was talking about, his songs, and you look about things with people. I'm not a big songwriter, but, I do journal every now and then. But like I said, if it wasn't for music, I don't think I would be here today, helping me through like dark times and things like that.
In Springsteen's autobiography, he talks a lot about depression, and that was one that he would never have thought.
Yeah,
about him, but
he's like all-American boy.
Right,
he had big issues with it, and he's open about it. I think most. The other one is stand-up comedians. A lot of them deal with depression.
Oh, yeah.
What they do is they project that comedic side of them to repress, I think, what they're feeling. Wayne Brady
Yeah.
he deals with tremendous depression and anxiety, apparently. Well, look at him, Then again, he's probably got plenty of money for medication. But, a lot of people do. And a lot of people, they're afraid to say that because they think people are going to think lesser of them. But it's the bad things in the world that you go through that you try and make it stronger for your soul and move on. But there's certain things where I hold on to the past way too much, So another thing is with Weezer. So in 2002, their bass player Mikey stopped showing up for video shoots and recording. And at the time, I was really connected with some labels and things like that. And I got a call. And I said, Chris, not sure if you want to try and attempt this, but I have a connection with Weezer. They're looking to audition bass players. Like, at the time, huge fan. Anxiety was not controlled at that time. I basically never got back to the person. So I missed a huge opportunity to probably be in a nice band right now, but I connected with Scott Schreiner, who is the current bass player since 2003 to current, and a great guy, and we've shared stories and all that, but, it's another regret,
I think I've told this story on this podcast once, but back in it was mid-90s, I had an opportunity. I was hanging out with this guy who worked in radio in New York City, and he was just like, "Hey, you're really funny. You should come down and audition." And for whatever reason, me being me, is I didn't have the confidence in myself to go do it.
Right.
And which, looking back, I should have.
Yep. Exactly.
Who knows?
Who
knows where that would have gone?
But the thing is like I look at myself. If I'd done that, I auditioned, I got it. Would it have gone to my head way too much? Or would I, it's like, because Rivers Cuomo, he's, talk about someone out there. He's a micromanager, writes great songs. But the thing is, talking with Scott Schreiner, the current bass player, he's told me there's been, there's control issues and whatnot, but hey, when you're at that level, getting that paycheck, having fun, playing something that you like. They're more of a, they went through a lot of different stages. But
I always think about bands like that, like Pink Floyd is one. I'm like, why wouldn't Roger Waters and David Gilmour just put the differences aside and just do one massive tour and just the payday would be so big?
Yeah. Yeah, you wonder.
I mean, that's why Guns N' Roses got back together.
They ran out of money?
I don't know. How do you run out of Guns N' Roses money?
Yeah, that's what fascinates me. You hear these like.
I don't know. Well, Axl Rose has had a lot of face work done. Not that I'm against that, but
I didn't recognize him recently.
He looks very different
than
he ever did before.
Yeah, well, he's a bigger guy now.
I like Axl Rose though. I mean, I like him as he's a good person. Like I like all of his, his political stuff that he comments on. Like
some bands just have it in them, like the Green Day. They've always managed to stay together. I think they have rocky periods, but for the most part, they seem to.
Yeah, Green Day and U2. Okay, never had a lineup change ever. So that is amazing to see. A lot of people slam me for liking U2 as much as I do.
Oh, I love U2.
Okay, good.
I like old U2. Not
like Red Rocks and Sunday Bloody Sunday. But the newer stuff, they went through the Zeropa. That was like, I was like, what are you doing? It was like very, very electronic. and all that. But
Oh, God, talk about a band that knows how to do a stage show, though. U2. Their shows are incredible.
yeah, I was reading something the other day that when they do go on tour, they have 24 buses that carry all their equipment. It's good. Yeah, they get set up the elaborate stage and all that, and they each have their own like personal assistants and things like that. But you wonder, though, the thing is about when bands get that big, you wonder how real their playing is, or are they do that people like The Edge?
Have you seen his setup?
Yeah,
I mean, that's incredible.
that is like
I've
gotta go to school for that shit.
I've seen him do it, and the riffs he does are actually really simple.
Yeah,
but he runs them through so many
so many
processors
effects and yeah. So you wonder like that's it, there's that line where it becomes like true, like I've played maybe with like a chorus pedal and a flanger pedal and a bass distortion pedal. That's the most I've ever played with. But you see these huge bands, and it's like, okay, so basically there's people backstage that are pressing buttons and pushing this to change that and that.
And so some of the bands you can tell are just totally out there faking it.
Yeah.
Like, oh God, call bands out. Like sometimes like Motley Crue, and you'd be like, huh, I know Vince Neil doesn't really sound like that, because if you listen to him isolated, it's just,
all those those overtones put on top. But I mean, that happens a lot. Even this little, like, we recorded in my band Routine Riot. That was my second, not second, but that was my second favorite band. And we were like a jack of all trades of music. Everything from rock to, we call emo, to electronica, to ska. And unfortunately, 2002 was our last show at the Glass House in Pomona. We didn't plan it. But we let our merchandise manager walk away for a second, and someone stole all of our merchandise. I never got a second copy of our original CD myself. And that was just like a blow. And it's funny, we played the show, and then we didn't talk for 3 weeks. And all of a sudden, I did the finances. All of a sudden, I'm like, called the guys and go, what's going on? Well, I'm having a baby, I'm going to college. I'm like, okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to write you guys all checks. And I guess we just call it quits.
Bummer.
It sucked, yeah.
That's what's got to be hard about being a band. You got 4 different people, 4 different personalities, and trying to keep everybody in the same direction. That's why it's amazing, like the U2s and the Green Days can stay together for that long.
Yeah.
But again, I guess they take breaks from each other for a couple years at a time.
Yeah, kind of cool their jets or whatnot. But yeah, that was with Routine Riot. It was like me and the drummer, Ryan. We really wanted to take it to the next level, and we could have. Keith, our singer, and Ryan and Tom and Scott, our keyboardist, guitar player, singer, they just wanted to do it as like just a fun, like, local thing. So the big thing about when you join a band, I remember talking to Brian T-Bone Willie. He plays trombone for Safe Eris. I remember talking to him one morning, and he said, the biggest thing when you do join a band, get together. You need to talk with everyone to see what page they're on. And if everyone's not on the same page, you need to discuss that and then decide who you want in the band. Because, I really wanted to go places, and we could have with Routine Riot, but we weren't all on the same page. It was just more of a fun, play shows just in Orange County, and we were goofy and things like that. So
I was hoping this podcast would go places, but God, it's a tough racket. I think we should wrap this up. Chris, thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
I think we might have to have you on again, because I think we have more stories to explore.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
All right. Hey, is there any plugs? Anything out there you want to?
Too many. Like you said, Mario. Stand with Mario. He's offhand, without my notes, he was born with a disability, and throughout the years, he's been bullied because of it. And his mom, Donna, has this campaign. It's hashtag Stand with Mario. And it's basically just an anti-bullying thing, and I'm proud to wear the shirt. And he's just an amazing person. He's so into the local ska scene too. And then unfortunately, my friends Jamie and Tim, they lost their son to cancer when he was 5 a number of years ago. And that was really hard because he was doing really well. And then it just came back and it took his life. And they still struggle every day. And they do a journal every day about things. And so it's just doing the right thing and trying to help people out in this world. That's what I like to try and do so much. I don't have a lot of resources or money. But like I mentioned, just giving a simple compliment or maybe like just a simple thank you card to people that I see that are not so much struggling, but they're out there and they're doing what they can to get by in these hard times. And it's not about reflecting on me like, oh yeah, I did this good thing. It's just making someone maybe that has a bad day going on, maybe turning that frown upside down into a smile.
Yeah, I try to tell the people closest to me, I try to give them positive affirmation every day and tell them that you care about them and that you love them. And
it's like you and I've been talking about certain things, it sucks that, I'm glad we're able to talk about that.
Yeah.
And hopefully things will get better.
Yeah, I mean, because, we always talk about this. If you're, depressed and going through stuff, the best thing to do is turn to a friend and try to talk about it.
Yeah.
Rather than wallow in your own head.
But
especially when you have too much time on your hands.
Yeah. Stir crazy. That's the thing is like, I'd rather be doing something and be busy. But at the same time, is people that do have anxiety or depression oftentimes have a problem reaching out. It's just like with addiction or alcoholism. It's like when I get that craving to do something in my past that I'm not proud of, it's like the last thing I want to do is reach out to someone to talk me out of it. Does that make sense? I mean,
I don't know. So sometimes you'd just like to. Sometimes feeling sad feels good for some reason, and you just get to that place, and you just want to.
And there's nothing wrong with crying. I'll sit sometimes and just cry my emotions out, and it just helps me feel better. Maybe it's not something specific, but it's something just feels like it's just like kind of cleansing myself in a way.
Yeah.
And getting over it. And
I'll say I've done that over the last couple of weeks. You just be listen to music and just a song come on and it'll just hit you just the right way and you're like, why am I crying?
Yeah, turns your day the right side up.
All right. Well, on that note, we'll wrap this one up. Snow, thanks for doing this podcast with me.
Yes, thank you.
Yes,
Thank you.
It's very therapeutic at times.
I know. I love this podcast.
Yeah.
Even if it doesn't go anywhere, it's my therapy.
I don't even know.
Hey, we picked up a listener in France.
Yay!
Hey. So whoever you are.
So I don't even know what a podcast is. Is that Apple based?
We're on Apple Podcasts. We're on Spotify.
Okay.
And Amazon.
It's quite simple. It's a talk show like on radio, but you put it out there yourselves.
So you can
so people can listen to it anytime they want.
Okay. So the platform, can it be like on YouTube or no?
There's a way to convert it. Maybe once I figure this out. God, I have all the time on my hands. You think I'd be doing stuff like that right now?
So much time on my hands. Sticks.
All right, everybody. All right. Thank you for listening, and we will talk to you next week. Okay.
Ta-ta.
Bye, y'all.
Bye-bye.